everything. I try to avoid an office on purpose. Yeah, because that
That is our future. That is our future.
that yeah, exactly. And it's also, it gives you, imagine your kid, you could be with your kid more, and you could go to class, but
Yes.
all that, it's a philosophy that people not always agree on.
No, I worked from home just about every other Friday,
Oh,
and
but you like
I
that.
loved it. Well, actually, it seemed like there was more work to do. It's like everybody really wanted to contact you on the day you were off. So it's harder when it's not person to person and everybody's sending you emails and phone calls and
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Okay, so I think we pretty much have everybody. I'm making sure. Okay, so now I do that, and then I do that. So they see me probably. Oh, already 6 viewers. Hello, class. Screen share, yes, please. And here we go. I think we're okay. So, class, this is your guest lecturer, Liliana.
hi guys.
I don't know if they see you yet, but let's see. Give me a heads up on WhatsApp, please. See, this is a little bit of the lag. Okay, Victoria's saying something. This is how you can tell. Hi, Victoria has good internet connection. And so does Marlon. Hey, okay, perfect. Everybody's on. So there you go, guys. There's your link at 8:30 on the dot. Everybody looks at me like, man, Professor Puente, you're super late. I'm like, wow, you guys are super early. But it's okay. I know you guys want to have class, which is good. Better than most professors. Um, okay, so everybody's here. Blurry. I found out, I read a little bit about the blurriness, guys, and it has to do with the buffing of the video for recording. So yes, it's gonna be a little blurry, but let me tell you, the recording will not, which is why we need it for the class or the other class too as well, to keep up with it. So at least you get a good audio. As long as the audio is fine, it will buffer into a better situation, and that's pretty much it. However, keep up with the book, which is most important. Read the book in front of you, which should not be your. Don't use my screen for the book. Use your book for the book. Okay, so have it up. And I'm hoping some of you have read a little bit through. But I mean, these, you know what I love about this, Liliana? The book is so easy to read. I mean, it cannot be any easier, please, right?
Absolutely. And I love the examples it gives you.
Yeah, I fought and fought for this book because of how simple it is. I care more about you guys learning than reading pages upon pages of material that may not even be tested. This is straight to the point, right? And this makes the so much makes the class so much easier. Hope mine doesn't mess up like the class. It shouldn't. By the way, if you guys give it a little bit of a break, it's also that we have 10 people. YouTube doesn't like more than 8 or 9. We're right at the cusp. Okay, that's why I don't allow too many people in. I haven't pushed for so many people in. Besides that, we would need like a bigger server here, and we don't have it. Home. Okay. Well, guys, I think we're about to start. It's 8:32. Please keep your questions. If I'm not mistaken, Liliana, I think our next class is the midterm. Our next module 8, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll say a few things about the midterm, and then I'll start. I bet you everybody's wondering. The other thing everybody's wondering probably is your grades. Well, your grades take me about 2 hours of work, which I'll definitely get it done. But it's like real serious work because I got to get down, look at it, and everything. However, Nubia did put in a claim for your grade on one of the lectures or one of the modules, which was 2 months, a week ago. That's not your grade, guys. Please understand, Nubia's that's not your grade. It's her opinion of your grade. My grading will be your grade. So if you can back it up with other claims, like, hey, I actually did this, this, and that, as a counter argument, you get a better grade. Wouldn't that be fair, Liliana?
Okay, you might have to repeat that for me.
So it's okay. So Nubia put in a form, and it states that in your module 6, your discussion and gave you a grade and said reasons why. I think 2 reasons per why that was your grade. Okay? That's not your grade. That's what she thinks your grade should be. What I'm going to do is counter it with your own idea of what your grade should be. Okay?
Since I didn't attend the last lecture, I don't think that one would apply to me, right?
Did you put your discussion on a discussion board?
Yes, I did.
Then it does. It applies to everybody.
Okay.
Because we even went through that one. So it's okay. So with that said, you'll counter. Do you see? Okay. The whole point here is that you use the material. That's really most important, right? So if
I think Nubia is going to learn it very well. She's reading all those discussions.
She did it. Yes, that's most important. Yeah, yes. So she's doing the part that I think I'm going to submit to even the faculty on how cool it is that we're using the course material for your grade. And I feel like that's when students care the most, when it's like, oh, wow, my grade. It's like the currency of academia. It's grading, right?
Yeah.
It's like talking about a raise for you in the real world, in real job, right? So that in itself is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get you to push for a grade with using the material. Imagine I could say, hey, these are my claims. And even if I'm thinking, man, that was such a well-put argument, of course you know the class, right? But if you're like, oh, well, I wrote 500 words and, well, what was it about? There's not much of a good backing, right? So now we're going to do objective 20, 21, 22, no, 21, 22, 23, 24, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we're going to start there. Guys, questions? Please tell me your questions. No? Everyone's kind of quiet out there. Crickets. Oh, with that said, Liliana, this is what you'll be doing for us this week. You go and you see their response on WhatsApp, okay? And you give me an idea of how well you thought they participated. But then you also get to see the discussion on the other people that wrote 500 words. And then you get to say how well they participated. You need to be careful because the people that write 500 words love to just like ramble.
I didn't write 500 words, so I can relate.
Yeah, you're like, oh, so today I decided to pick up the computer. Yeah, okay, well, then you just try. The point is that you have to be a little more articulate, and it's much harder with 500 words. I'd rather you guys do this face to face. I'm that guy. How do we become a guest speaker, Victoria? Okay, see me after class, Victoria. Isn't that crazy? I could say that digitally. Oh my God. So yes, you can become a guest speaker, and it's a very good opportunity. Nubia got some real good serious points, and so did Carrie when she did it, and so did Selena when she did it. So those are points, by the way, that goes towards your midterm, which, by the way, is not that simple. It's not that easy. However, I am going to have a review, a class review, which is sort of like this. It's sort of like this, okay? With a little different rules, and we try to make it a little fun, but I want to get you guys to learn. If you come to the review, Liliana, if you come to review, it's very, like, the test is so doable.
Just don't make it on a Monday, and I'll be there.
Don't make it on a Monday. I actually don't usually tend to make it Monday, Tuesday.
No, I'm sorry. Make it on a Monday.
Make it on a Monday. There is good news for those who can't make it, and unfortunately, I have to like gauge because I can't make it on everybody's turn. Which I'll try to see what's the best time frame for everybody. But I will leave the transcript of the conversation on D2L for D2L people. However, you're not gonna see much of the answers. It's better to be live. Yes. So, alrighty. Any questions, guys? Yeah. What about the midterm? That's the midterm. The midterm is about one thing and one thing only. Terms. You know terms, you're fine. But it's not terms like, oh, like social conditioning encourages you to accept the beliefs, traditions, and values. It's like, what is this phrase? Social conditioning, egocentric thinking. Do you see what I mean? You have to kind of think through, because it's so funny. Your book is about critical thinking. I mean, it's pretty common sense. Look, you're using material too. All right, so that's to talk about midterm. Questions, guys? Any last questions? Selena's typing. Where will we take it? What days, times? Great question, Selena. Your midterm, it's going to be on, I think I make it from Friday at 9 a.m. all the way to that Monday at the end. Okay? That week, that I don't give you anything, which is next week, but just the midterm review, which I think I'm going to have to make it on a Thursday because it's from Friday a.m. all the way through. Okay? So that's when we speak about I meet you guys like this. We do the review. I give you questions, and you guys give me answers. You guys find the answers with each other. That's the cool part of it, okay? But those who are watching this and they're not part of the class that are doing on D2L, watching this as a recording, let me tell you, come to the review. It's way easier. It's way easier. Some people just choose to do things on their own, and they just rather listen, and they're pretty good. I can't blame them. Sometimes people rather do it that way. It's just I would want it the easiest route, right? So next week is basically review for midterm. Next week is not just review for midterm, Victoria, it's also grading for me. So it works out, right? And a lot of refreshing on the screen. Okay, yes, that's just part of the connection. Never mind, you answered my question. Good job, Victoria. All right, guys. So then let's begin since it's 8:40 and we're gonna get through this. And then I'm going to start, okay? In 3, 2, 1. Okay, good evening, class. This is Professor Puente, and today we have one of your classmates, Liliana.
Hi, guys.
How you doing? I already told you, my daughter's name is Liliana, so your name is great.
Thank you. Beautiful name.
By the way, it's the same name in just about every country, even in Germany. They're like Liliana. Isn't that cool? Very universal.
And usually here they call me Lillian or Lily.
Lillian and Lily, that's right. So I have an idea. So can I ask you a question then? What do you do?
Right now, I'm a full-time student.
Full-time student?
Yes, I was laid off back in April.
Okay.
And after not being able to find a job for a while, I wanted to back up my 8 years of experience with an education.
Good, very good. You know what's great about this is that I'm gonna get, with your permissions, of course, we're gonna put this video on YouTube. And if you like to, and if the class would like to, because they're participating, we'll make it public. And maybe if somebody finds you, and then, you know, hey, you get a job. And since you're speaking so well, articulately, they're probably you maybe get something, right? It's YouTube.
Yeah, amazing, absolutely.
What do you do? What's your best attributes? So the way maybe they hear you say this.
My best attributes. I am definitely determined. And I think my best attribute that most people would say about me is that I tend to jump in and help out wherever I can. And that's where I gain most of my knowledge. You know, when I see somebody needs help, I ask them, you know, can I help you? They'll teach me what they do. And eventually I'll end up picking up another skill. You know, I'll be able to add that to my resume. And I think that's how I progressed and, you know, on my jobs.
Good, good. Well, class, if you don't mind helping your classmate find a job, yes, then just that would be super helpful and very teammate-like.
Appreciate it. Yes, absolutely.
All right. And if I hear something, you know, I will definitely pass it on.
Thank you. And
now we begin on the chapter introduction on objective 21. Last class, we had great objectives. I want to say this part 3 overall is very, very good. Okay. And let's see. Avoid egocentric thinking. It's funny you said your attribute is to help someone else. Very altruistic, right? And your book is like, yes, please don't just think of yourself. Please, right? So, I mean, that's very common sense. This thinking limits your ability to appreciate other points. Funny thing is, Liliana, is that some people don't even know they're egocentric thinkers. They don't know that. So if you feel like you're an egocentric thinker, it's okay. It's just one of those things that are a weakness. Some of us have other weaknesses. But as long as you're aware of your thinking, if you're aware of it, there you go. I go again where I'm thinking of myself, right? It helps. It helps. Betty, he says, egocentric thinking impedes critical thinking. I believe so too. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. By the way, the word conscious means you're aware of yourself. So that
Okay.
if you're conscious of your psychotherapist thinking, you're already ahead. So social conditioning. Be aware of your social conditioning. Social conditioning encourages you to accept the beliefs and traditions and values of your social group. You say you were a mom, right, Liliana?
Yes.
As a mom, what is a social conditioning that moms get?
Um.
I can give you a couple because I know them so well from my own wife.
Okay, give me a couple, and I'll add to it.
Have you heard of Montessori?
Yes.
Have you heard how much it is?
Yes, a lot.
Isn't that a little bit of a social conditioning? Like, hey, you want to make sure it's the greatest for your kid. Doesn't matter, just pay it up.
Absolutely, absolutely. I am thankful to have my mother-in-law and my mom take care of her. And you see, again, it goes back to culture and beliefs, because we believe that family is the best to take care of your children. They'll be safe. And again, they'll teach them, what's best for them. So it could be depending on the culture.
Of course, of course. So that's social conditioning. It's just a little bit of the pressure that you get people. And one of them, believe it or not, is college. That doesn't mean that it's bad or good. It's just people always condition you to go to college. Again, it does not mean that it's good or bad. It's just that that's the next level, like what you're doing now, right? So it's social conditioning, and you just have to be aware that something's come externally. Identify outliers. Here's something I see class all the time. I hear people tell me stories of random events that are super rare. About this guy that ate for 1 year McDonald's and never gained weight. Okay. Well, statistically, that's called an outlier. That means that it's a rare person. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not the rule. The rule is that we all just about will gain weight eating McDonald's every day. Okay. So that's why be careful. Identify outliers. Yes, that person did not die smoking cigarettes for 95 years. But I'm thinking that most people would die if they smoke cigarettes for 95 years, right? So identify that some things are rare, okay? Avoid normalization. People who assume that their ideas are normal because they have been exposed to them repeatedly. This is very, very easy to fall into, Liliana. You start to think that it's normal. And things just click and click and click. One of the things that you see circle-wise is actually the age of marriage. When do you think people should get married? And normally for you?
As far as, I don't think there'll be an age. I think once you finish your career, you can focus on, meeting someone else's needs after you met yours. But that's based after my experience.
And you want to know something? There's cultures that 17 is too late. You're like done. You should have got married at 13, right? But that's normalization. Avoid it, because sometimes something that's normal to a group or your bubble may not be what's normal overall. And yeah, you're right. You're speaking in a professional world, Houston, Texas, right? That's usually when you get married, when you're settled and you're ready to buy a house, you have that position. But that again became normal for us. In some other countries, that is not the case, or cultures, right? So, and respect your emotions. This is super critical, guys. Emotions. But consider the logic and appropriateness for the decisions. Okay? Yes, respect them. Don't avoid your emotions. This book does not say just think like a robot. It says understand and be aware of your emotions so that way you can make a better decision from them. Believe it or not, Liliana, and I know we speak about not making a decision from your gut, but Aristotle, which is a major philosopher, his whole point was you make decisions off emotions, but empirically, as in you get evidence. You use the evidence, use what you see, what you smell, and what you hear, and what you touch to make that evidence real and make decisions of it. So he said, use your emotions. Isn't that funny?
Yes, I think you have to be aware of your emotions. There's times when you don't want to make a decision. Like if you didn't sleep good, you're grouchy. You're obviously not going to be thinking, in a proper way to make a good decision.
Exactly. That's definitely. So employers, if you're out there and you see Liliana, she could definitely hold back her emotions and make good decisions. So that's the whole theme. the whole theme of the class is to get you a job. So we're gonna keep doing it.
Eat a balanced meal, exercise, and then I'm ready for decision making.
Right. So let's go to the class. Selena said 13. Yeah, you'll be surprised, Selena. Some cultures it gets normal is not the normal you think. It's very easy to fall into the norm society. Yes, Victoria. Sometimes the norm may not be beneficial for your decisions or not. That's right. So you sometimes what's thinking outside the box is what's out of the norm, and that sometimes that helps.
And even our norm changes over our life. You know, what we thought was appropriate at 17, now that I'm, you know, my mid-20s, that was completely inappropriate.
Very true.
You know, our norm changes as well as we grow.
Very, very true. Even among 13-year-olds or 17-year-olds or 30-year-olds, right? So let's see. Sandra Mackin, it's very easy to think you are the norm of society. Very true. You must love yourself before loving someone else. I agree with that, Selena. And that's using your emotions very wisely. Sometimes I have trouble keeping my emotions in check. Okay, Johan, and it happens. And I have to agree with Johan. To think that your emotions are not going to take control of you is not true. In fact, I was telling a buddy of mine that, hey, I'm pretty good at holding back my emotions, and I'm pretty good at using them when I need to. So if it's something that I need to use my emotion to prove a point across, I'm going to do it effectively. Use it for your advantage, at least, right? Just make sure it comes in good doses. That's all. What do you think, Selena? I'm sorry, Liliana.
I was going to say something too, that in my way of critical thinking, I think it affects me because I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I kind of, you know, think that everybody, you know, I guess I'm kind of gullible. I just believe what other people say. So in my way, my emotion does affect my critical thinking.
So let me tell you, in social science, because that's the PhD I'm studying, the word you're looking for is called agreeable. You're very agreeable. Okay. And that's good and bad. It's good in situations. I could actually tell that you be great support staff, great at it. And people would actually come to you and offer you jobs on that role and that idea. But being too agreeable is also gives you a counter in some sense, in some ways, right? So let's see, Selena, Nubia, I think cultural norms can also affect decisions because of how you were raised. That is called nurture, Liliana, that's called nurture. And that is very true, how you were raised. Let me tell you though, how you were raised, and if you're aware of it, then it becomes easier to kind of use for yourself. I was raised to have a big family in my house, about 9, 10 people. And I know that, hey, that may be a little difficult as an adult because you kind of want to have your own time, your own privacy, right?
Yes.
So, all right, so then let's go to objective 22. Good discussion. See, this one's a really, really interesting one. Liliana got an interesting one. So let's see. And not all of these do this well, I will tell you, because some of them, this actually adds the emotions part to it. So let's see. Now we go to objective 22, avoiding deductive reasoning fallacies. Fallacies is a very important term, class. Very important term. These are the ideas you had that you thought were right, but were completely wrong. Okay. So avoid the slippery slope. A slippery slope argument says that if one event happens, another serious or drastic event will inevitably follow. This is real simple. I have family members that unfortunately got hit by a tornado. Let me tell you, these family members, when a tornado siren goes off, it is a fact that this tornado is coming down. Okay, but I'm talking about if the tornado is about 50 miles away. I'm talking about if it's a day away, it's gonna come down. So they keep thinking that this tornado is gonna come, even though the tornado is a very rare effect. It's just that it happened to them. Do you see how that could be a slippery slope?
Absolutely.
Now, it does help them because it's a warning. What's gonna be the worst? They at least know how to react. But imagine on the bad sense of that. If something were to happen to them and they keep thinking they're like in a car accident, they keep thinking of that car accident when a car accident is not as common, but you got to be careful. So you got to understand that the probabilities of something. So Be aware of false dilemmas. A false dilemma presents a limited number of options, frequently two choices, though more options are available. What do you think about that, Liliana?
I think this does happen a lot, and I think we should be able to negotiate and reason. When somebody gives you just two options, that's when you try and negotiate, because everything is negotiable.
Yeah.
And I think if you try and help them see both sides or both point of views, you can definitely reason.
And let me tell you, one fallacy that the American population has is that there's really only two parties. All right? Because there's a lot more. It's just we never, ever test that. And we never even think of maybe the Libertarian Party or the Green Party or any other little party we could have made. We only think duality. And that is definitely a fallacy. So straightening out circular reasoning. Circular reasoning is one of my favorites. It's an argument that just keeps going in circles. And so, in fact, when husband and wives argue, it's said that it's a circular reasoning. Like, the husband's like, but you don't do nothing around the house. And then she's like, well, you never come home. But it's like, you keep going in circles. You keep going in circles, right? Or maybe the wife's working too much, and the husband is like, you forgot about me, but she's working too much. So you see, just keep going in circles, and be careful with that, because if that doesn't become a helpful argument, it logically is not sound anymore. You're going in circles, right? If anybody has good out there in the class, good concept of a circular argument, please let me know. Okay, because those are, in fact, it's called in some sections they call it catch-22. It's like, hey, let me give you a good one, Liliana. You need 2 years of experience to have most jobs, right? But most jobs won't give you 2 years of experience. So then it goes going in circles. Like, how do I get in? Right? So then there you go. So
the perfect one.
Yeah. It took me a while to get that one, but clear up equivocation. Do you speak Spanish, Liliana?
Yes, sir, I do.
What is equivocación?
An error.
An error. And yet the English word is equivocation.
Yes.
And clear up equivocations. And again, another type of fallacy. One of the stops on a quest tour in Latin America, sign reads, "Fine for public sunbathing." A tourist assumed that it was is a fine to openly lie out in the sun.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So clear that up. Look at something twice. If it's too easy, then you're like, maybe too easy. Something is up.
Question it, definitely.
Exactly. Johan was like, an error. That's right, Johan. You would know Spanish, right? Like the chicken and egg argument. Yes, Danilo, that is a very good one. The chicken and egg, because it just keeps going in circles, and that's circular arguments, and those are more common than people think it is. Mm-hmm. Options are always good to have in front of you, this or that. Yeah, in some ways that's true. And by the way, Johan, in sales, that's one of the tactics that you want to use with customers. Would you like to make an appointment on Tuesday or on Monday? Because they start to think easier. Now, that doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just, it's easier to have two choices instead of multiple, that's why.
It'll take them a while to make a decision if you have way too many options.
Yeah. So it's funny. This book, as we see things, I don't want people to think good or bad, because that's also a bad. It's if you take one from something, you're going to give it to the other. You're right. If you take away the two options, then it's just too many options for people, right? Yeah, so that is true. I think to avoid circular reasoning, we should have a clear standpoint and a list of wants that we want to be. Yes, Nubia, that it's very good. So you want to kind of come in with good ideas up front, good solutions, so the way you can discuss them. And sometimes putting them in options, more than two options is what your book is saying.
It's like that meme that you see on Facebook where, the boyfriend asks the girlfriend, "Where do you want to eat?" And she goes, "What do you want to eat?" "No, wherever you want to eat." And they go back and forth. So yeah, next time have some options before you have that, little discussion with your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Exactly. Have options. How about we choose between 5 Chinese restaurants close by, the 5 closest? Then you're done. Then you're easier to get to a decision. So you're right, Liliana. See, we're helping. Maybe you could be a couple therapist. Maybe you'll get one of those, right?
You might need one first, then I'll help out.
Yeah. Don't ever ask that question to a girl, is what Betty said. That's her solution.
Yes.
Don't ask that question to her. That's funny. And Selena said, plan ahead. Always have a backup plan. That is, Selena just laughed and said, that's right. Don't ask that to her. That's your solution.
Well, then she'll get mad. Why didn't you ask
Why didn't
me?
you
where
ask
I'm
me? That, by the way, I got to be honest. When people call on Facebook and social media, you see girlfriend logic, it's circular reasoning. Like girlfriend logic is circular reasoning on that's the actual term when it make fun of it. So maybe I should make like my own. But that, hey, not to say women do that because that's not right. Men do it all the time.
Some men do that too.
Well, when we talk about sports, trust me, we're gonna have our own circular reasoning on sports, right? So avoid hasty generalization. So we're in objective 23, avoiding inductive reasoning fallacies. Okay. I would love for somebody to tell me what inductive reasoning is down on discussions, because there are two of them. There's inductive and there's deductive. Okay. And those are two very important part of the test. Inductive reasoning involves formulating conclusions based on limited observations. Sometimes a broad conclusion is reached when very little supporting data is available. Let me tell you something. Somebody told me a title, and I made a decision on that title of a book. And I wasn't very happy. That just happened today, actually. And I was like, oh man, I never even read the book. I'm just looking at the title, and it was not a good title. It's like, it was the art of giving a blank word. It's a curse word, right? And it was actually a very famous book. I was very surprised. I was like, why did they use a curse word? It caught my attention. But I was like, I don't want to read that because it has a curse word. That's what I told myself. It has a curse word right up front. Like, I mean, can it be a little more creative and not so, vulgar? Guess what?
Attention.
It caught my attention. And I made a decision. I made a judgment of that without even looking at what the book may be about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I do make that generalization. I think vulgar, not good. But you know what? Maybe I should look into it, right? So you're right. They catch my attention. So separate cause and effect. This is twice you've seen this in your book, cause and effect, okay? Because a common error is to assume that when two or more events happen at the same time, one causes the other, okay? That's like thinking that there's a fire, okay? And the fire, you're like, well, it must be because of the storm that happened. It may be lightning, when in fact it was electrical. Mm-hmm. You see, and you got to be careful because you put two together, connect them, and it's fact. In your head is
absolutely
exactly. In fact, when in fact it was electrical fire, and it could be very fatal if it was an electrical fire like in your neighbor, and it happened to be from the power pole outside, because then that affects you. But if you thought it was lightning, you put it aside, and then now your house is on fire too. Right? Yeah. So you gotta be really, really careful about that. So event 1 and event 2, and it's the cause and effect. So look for false causes. We just talked about it. Part of fallacy is a false cause. And it's kind of the same situation. Have you ever had a situation where you had a false cause?
Yeah,
it's one of those you have to kind of think.
Yeah, I have to really think about it.
Yeah, a false cause. I can tell you this, last night during the Oscars, people were like false causing, oh, it's that guy. He's so old. I feel so bad for him. He can't read, right? They were false causing that guy. But I love how the guy came out and was like, no, hold on a second. I got to let you know that this is exactly what I love how he was trying to explain himself, because don't you dare put the old tag on me.
I didn't watch it. I'm going to have to watch it.
Oh, yeah, I'll let you watch it. It's really crazy. But the truth is that he did not want to feel like he was the cause, right? Consider the composition. A composition error happens when you assume the qualities of a part of something are also qualities of the whole. This is not a logical assumption. Okay, so composition error is that the parts of this whole, when you assume the qualities of a part of something are also part of the, okay, real simple. Okay, you think of, what do you think of when I say Mexico? When you say the word Mexico? The first thing that comes to your mind?
Mexican restaurant.
A Mexican restaurant. Okay, perfect. So you think that every part of Mexico is into food. Okay, right?
They have really good food. Yes, absolutely.
When it could just be the Jalisco area or the Monterrey area that's into food. So you're thinking that the whole Mexico is into food. So then you may go to a part of Mexico and be surprised that they're not into food.
Or when they say that all Mexican women can cook really good.
Exactly.
You know, because they're from Mexico, they have to cook and make tortillas by hand. And all kinds of things.
Exactly. So it's saying don't think because part of it's good. The whole thing, it's good. It's actually what causes stereotypes. You're very, very, very right. So you gotta hold on and say, well, not all of Mexico may cook. Funny thing is, I actually think that a big part of Mexico does cook, and it'll probably be harder to find an area that doesn't. But that was part of the example of what I was meaning, right? So let's go to the class. Oh, actually, I think that's 4. Is there one more? Nope, that's it. Taquitos, tacos, and people got really, really hungry. Taquitos, tacos.
Let me add enchiladas in there then. I love enchiladas.
I love enchiladas. So I'm gonna let Liliana give you a grade on that discussion because it just went like about food. Maybe she will agree with you guys.
I'll give you brownie points if you talk about enchiladas. I'm just playing.
That's so funny. Don't ever make assumptions without enough information. Always ask questions. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings and drama. They're right, Betty. They're right. Yes. That's, in fact, believe it or not, if you use this book for your everyday life, you would see that, oh man, you're catching a lot of fallacies in what you say and what you do and what you think. One thing I want to make a difference, guys, that's not in your book and maybe part of your test. Write this down. Judgment, and not for you, but you could just for them. Judgment, there's judgment, and then there's making a decision. Judgment means that you, in your head, decided something. Not decided, but made a call. Like something is red. This shirt's red is a judgment. Okay? Making a decision takes action. Like, I'm going to go buy that shirt. You see, that's decision making. Now you're just doing something from this shirt. So that's why it's important to differentiate judgment and decision making.
There's action behind a decision making.
There's action behind decision making. So this is huge in business because remember, everything is about resources. There's limited resources. It's the principle of economics. So you can only do so much. What do? You make judgments. But if you can kind of make judgments correctly, your decisions will be way better. And therefore, your actions become way better. And therefore, you're probably a better manager. So, and that's how you're going to get a good job there. They're going to be like, wow, your decisions are going to be so well made. Let's see what else your class says.
Give the credit to Professor Puentes.
Thank you. They're still talking about food. You'll have to stop. I'm getting hungry. I can't believe we brought food and then I'm trying to get Liliana a job, guys, and you are talking about food. Can't get anything done without action. That's true. Or without Mexican food, according to the class. So,
you definitely need food to make a good decision.
Hey, that's true. That's very true. So action is important, yes. That's why decision making is all about that. And this is what this book does. If you want to know the truth, Liliana, this one class is what will make you different in your degree. Everything else, you're learning technical. This is like this is the psychology of making a decision. It really is. So
yes, there really is a lot of information I wish I knew in my previous jobs. I think I would have made better decisions. Absolutely.
Oh, good. This is everything. Being a manager is being a decision maker. Again, you're making judgments. But if your judgments are off, then you're not making good decisions. You know. Mm-hmm. So that's important. So now we're going to objective 24, becoming a critical thinker, which in your case is an employed critical thinker, right? So develop intellectual humility. It's so funny. The very first thing of becoming a critical thinker is be humble. Like, relax. You're not anything. You should not be anything great. It's just understanding your limits. The word limits is right there. Limits of your knowledge. Look, I may be a professor and I may be teaching you, Liliana, I may be teaching the class, but I have limits to my knowledge. I absolutely do. And there are things you're going to know more than me. I can guarantee you'll be a way better mom than I am. Even though I could probably be a better daddy. Right?
Yes, I will.
But you see, everybody has their fortes. So you can't really know it all. You can't be omniscient, right? Like, so you have to understand that, know your limits. When you're going too far, when you're making a judgment too quickly, right? So
yes, and
that,
you know, ask questions and get more information.
exactly. Absolutely. So that's important. So be a critic, not a cynic. What do you think the difference is?
Cynics are often self-righteous. That's like one of the main things that I saw right there.
Yeah. It's people that oppose all the time. A critic wants to help you out.
Yes, critics could be positive. You can say something and, you know, you're not criticizing them, but you're doing it for a good reason.
Yeah, like Professor Puente, you know, you guys had a thought, hey, let's make this change. That was a criticism, and it was okay. It helped. Being cynic is like Professor Puente doesn't do anything right.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
We do all the
yeah, yeah. There you go. And that's how you're gonna help your grade. I'm just kidding. But of course, being a cynic is different. But I will tell you, understand the difference. You know, critical thinker is neither negative nor distrustful. Rather, you should be inquisitive, questioning, and open-minded. That's very, very true.
That's very good.
Challenge your assumptions and beliefs. That's going to be hard, class. That's going to be very, very hard to challenge your beliefs. What is a belief that you challenged while having your kid, for example? What's a belief that you just had to challenge?
A belief. I think, you know, slumber parties was a big one, you know, that I grew up not going to sleepovers, you know, protecting your children. And my kids, you know, all their friends have sleepovers. They stay at so-and-so's house. And I think that's, you know, a belief I had to question. And, you know, I was able to be a little bit more open about it, talk to the parents, how they handled it.
Good.
And, you know, get to know the parents before, of course, you let any child sleep over at anybody's house. So my belief was, no, that's definitely not going to happen. But, you know, I was open to it after, you know, talking to my children and other parents.
It's crazy how good a decision maker parents can become when they're trying to protect their kids.
Yes.
Know? Like
never mess with Mama Bear.
Never mess with Mama Bear. That's very true. And it's crazy how it's just inside of you to get the data, to do what the book is saying. Get the data, get the cause and effect, even though you could have easily said, no sleepovers. But then that would have been a missed opportunity too of great childhood memories. But yet you just were smart about it. You went through the data. You took out your fallacies and said, that's bad. No, let's leave it out. And then did it healthily, right? So good. Perfect. That's exactly why I believe parents make great decision makers. So work through complex issues and problems. Thomas Edison once said that thinking is the hardest job on the planet. That's absolutely right. Critical thinking is certainly hard work. However, it is an important part of being a professional. You have to be able to critically think. You have to. Let me tell you something, Liliana. You are going to get paid after you're done with this degree, not because of your labor, because of your thinking. That's the definition of a professional. Okay? Mm-hmm. If not, you will be doing the labor. Do you get what I mean? That's where people don't much understand, because the thinking is the rarity. It's not because it's easier, but because it's the rarity, right? So
yes, you have to make a smart decision with managing resources and overseeing people. It's just you have to make a correct decision when you're managing other people's resources on top of that.
Exactly. So, and then the last one, have confidence in your reasoning ability. Know that you can learn to be a critical thinker, that your reasoning and decision-making abilities can improve with practice. Practice. That's what you see experience, by the way. When you're an employee, and I'm an employer that hires employee, I love experience. I can't lie. I do the catch-22 because I'm like, oh, but you know that is really important. But you know, and I think I was talking to one of your classmates about a job opportunity, and you know, guys, I'll let you know this. I'll let you know what I told her. I said, listen, getting a job at the beginning right out of college is hard. It's very hard because we keep thinking of your inexperience, okay? So you almost have to volunteer. I swear, you almost have to volunteer. And this is where I give this message. Pour the coffee. Pour it. Go like this. Why? Because like the phrase says, to be a fly on the wall during decision making, to be a fly, to just hear it. Okay, but obviously you can't be a fly on the wall because you're a person. So pour the coffee, and hear the conversation. Hear that. Oh, pay attention. Then you get 6 months of experience. Yeah, it may have been unpaid or very lowly paid, but then you take that and then you shop it. Guess what I learned, guys? This is what I learned, and this is what happened. This is what this is. And then now the coffee is not your best value; it's your thinking.
Absolutely. And I actually had the opportunity to speak to a couple of managers after interviews that I had. And I just, called back to get some feedback on how the interview went. Oh. And most of them say they look at 3 major things. The first thing they look at is tenure. Make sure that, you don't, flop around. Yeah. And then they look at your responsibilities. What is it, your experience that you had? And then lastly, they look at your education.
Good.
So the main 3 points that they look at.
I really honestly believe that people like college educated people because of the thinking, because it was hard, because you had to take tests, and it's the filter. So, and let's see what the class says. Let's see. My dad started calling me a millennial. Lone Star does mock interviews, by the way. Yes, Victoria, Lone Star does mock interviews. They're very good. Take as many mock interviews as possible. Nail them because they're going to help you. Lone Star has so many. Lone Star, by the way, guys, is not, in my head, not a 2-year college. It's beyond. I went to the University of Alabama, okay? The University of Alabama, okay? And their resources don't come close to Lone Star. It's amazing how great Lone Star is. 7th biggest college in the United States, by the way, Lone Star College.
Wow.
Yeah, that does improve it. Yes, I agree. I honestly hate the term millennial. It's been destroyed. Carrie, it's good and bad, I gotta say, with the word millennial, because in my head I'm thinking, wanted fun. I hear the word fun. When I hear millennial, I'm like, fun. Let's do something fun. Let's travel. But the one thing I like about millennial is technology. You're big on technology. You have it. You have it in your hand, and you're quick. Hey, you come to live YouTube classes. That's millennial, right? So there's good and bad to that. Carrie also says confidence is key. I do agree with that. Hey, I understand you, Liliana. I was never allowed to either. I'm 21 and I've never been to a club. Well, Liliana, yes. And to be honest with you, it's okay. Let's talk parenting. And my parents never allowed me to go anywhere. But you have to think of the effects. My parents saw danger. Okay. So your parents maybe saw the same thing. And what was the situation then? What was their decision making so strict then? Maybe it was a different kind of world then. Maybe it's a little more safer, but maybe it's not. We don't know, right?
So maybe they didn't ask questions and get information like we are.
True. You got to
we're always looking for the best interest of our kids. And I think sometimes, in order to do that, we have to get information and talking to other parents who have been through it, experience. Again, we go back to experience. No matter what subject, what field, getting input and knowledge from other people is always going to help.
Back to Aristotle. Aristotle's about the senses, experience, the speak, the hear. Remember, I'm like, pour the coffee while you hear. Yeah. That's the experience that Aristotle was saying. You need the pragmatism. Stop talking about it only. That's what he's trying to say. So I do get that. There is something that I saw I really liked. I think Johan defined it. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, which is also important. Yes, Johan nailed it. Emotional intelligence is a theory, a leadership, a psychology theory that states that there's just like there's IQ, there's emotional intelligence, and you guys should look it up. It really is super helpful. You want to get a job, use the word emotional intelligence. You want to get a job, use the word servant leadership. Man, do people love those words, two together. Servant leadership, which is an academic term that proves that a leader should be a servant first. And it's very, very intriguing. And so see, if you guys use the right terminology, including the ones in your book, managers love that because they have MBAs, just like me. We know that. Technology is definitely a good thing. I'm always telling my parents how to work things. Yes, Gary, and I'll tell you this, me as a parent, I will never let my kid beat me on technology. I'm going to be ahead. It's going to be hard. It's gonna be so hard on them because I know that I could go around in circles. But that's it, guys. That's everything. Today, this week, I'm gonna leave the quiz off. No quiz today, guys, because I want you guys to kind of look through the information, read upon it. When you come to the midterm next week, the midterm, which I'll let you know when it is, when you come to the midterm review, you have to come with knowledge. Let me tell you why. Because I'm not giving any answers. So what I'm going to do is say, here's the question. And I'm going to allow 2 people that I choose to answer. And if those 2 don't get it, you don't have an answer. Okay? So come with knowledge. If you guys, this is one of the teamwork events. If you guys all know, you guys are all going to help each other. You're probably going to know the answer to the question, right? So some, I'm not even going to give the multiple choice. So that means that you're probably going to have to come with the answer, right? So that's, I'm trying to go ahead and get you guys to read through the information. It's parts 1, 2, and 3, right? That's the midterm. And that's it. What, do you have any questions for the class, Liliana? Look, your questions, the class gets to answer all about the midterm.
So questions right now for them?
For the midterm.
Do you want me to state a question for them?
Yeah, what's a good question that you can ask me that they benefit off that you have?
Let's see. I don't know if I have any questions right now.
No, not specific. Just overall about the test. I think we've answered a lot, though. I think we've answered a lot about, you know, how the format.
The midterm?
Yeah. Let's say if you would ask me how many questions, because it's a very good one. It's 30 questions.
Okay. Are all the students going to be able to join? Because you said you have a problem when there's like 10.
Oh, this is a little different format. We're not doing it live. We're doing it just WhatsApp. And what I'm going to ask everybody is to put their video answer. So I'm hoping that you guys use your video on your phone to put in your answer. So yeah, that's a good question. It's not going to be like this. It's because I have to give answers. So I don't want to read them out. So we'll go in that situation. As in I put out on WhatsApp and then you guys give me your video answers. And if it doesn't get answered, then we just leave it blank. That's why I'm thinking you guys would benefit to read through this. Victoria says, cool, can't wait. All right, Victoria. Remember, you can see me after about your guest appearance. Come with knowledge. Okay, parts 1, 2, and 3 midterm. That's it. Nothing else, guys. I think this has been a great class. You guys are stupendous. I love your class. You guys work together so well. You guys are interested. Not everybody's like this. So
everybody's eager, always on time.
Yeah, everybody's on time. They're like, where are you, professor? It's really cool. I'm really happy about you guys.
They're on time, you're late.
If you're on time, you're late. And what's funny is I think one of the classes last semester, I challenged them because they're like, because, you know, they come a little late. And I was like, would you come late to a Drake concert? And they're like, no. Then why would you pay for this? And not gonna? So it's the same situation, right? So yes, will actual test on D2L be multiple choice? Yes, Gary, good question. The test will be multiple choice. That's right. Selena said, I'm confused. Okay, if you're confused, meet me at the class about the. Now I'm going to also explain this before the midterm too, and I'm gonna go obviously over again on the midterm review, really, because I mean you probably guys are gonna have more questions. When will be the day and time? I think we spoke about it's gonna be 9 a.m. Friday through that Monday 11:59.
So it's going to be a test that we can take at home. It doesn't have to be proctoral at a campus.
No, that's too much work. You know, I want to make sure you guys know this test, but that would be, I don't believe in proctor exams, and gosh, I mean, what else do you want? I mean, if you don't want to study, just don't study, you know, gosh, I'm not into it. I know what you're saying, though. That makes sense. That's it, guys. If you confuse Selena, see me after. I can kind of explain a little bit or ask me questions here, and that is all. Okay, she said go awesome. So we got a little icon with, okay. That's it. Thank you so much, Liliana. This has been wonderful.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the opportunity.
Goodbye.
Bye.